Attention duelists. It is Monday, once again, as it is every week, unfortunately, which means it's time for the watch and learn. Let's get right into the video. I don't know why I'm using this ASMR voice. I'm going to stop now. First match, we have a Blue Eyes hard second. Opponent summons Kitchen Dragon Maid, uses her effect to add Chamber Dragon Maid to hand, and pitches Chamber Dragon Maid, then activates Dragon Maid Hospitality to summon her back. On summon, Chamber Dragon Maid adds Dragon Maid downtime to hand. Dragon Maid player sets 2 and passes. Blue Eyes player's turn. Opens with Harpy's Feather Duster. Opponent activates Dragon Maid downtime in response to bounce their Kitchen Dragon Maid back to their hand, and be able to add Tin Kek to their hand. Feather Duster will then resolve, destroying the back row, which was downtime and tidying. Blue Eyes player attempts to use Dragon Shrine, but their opponent will activate Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to negate. Blue Eyes player then activates Trade-In, pitching Blue Eyes Jet Dragon to draw 2. Activates Melody of Awakening, which they drew to discard White Stone of Ancients to add a Blue Eyes White Dragon and another Jet Dragon to their hand. They then reveal the Blue Eyes to summon their Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. Alternative Dragon will attempt to use its effect targeting Chamber, but the opponent will use Effect Veiler to negate. Blue Eyes player will end their turn during the end phase. Tidying will banish itself, allowing the Dragon player to summon Kitchen from the hand. Will add Parlor, and then discard Tin Kek. White Stone of Ancients during the end phase will summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. And then Tidying will bounce Kitchen back to the hand during the end phase. Passes turn, player summons Kitchen for the third time this game, adds a second Chamber to their hand, discards the second Kitchen. Then Chamber and Kitchen are going to link together to make Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Dragon Maid player will end their turn. Blue Eyes player's turn. Alternate Dragon attempts to use its effect, and Hieratic Seal will chain, attributing itself to bounce one of the opponent's monsters. It bounces the Blue Eyes, and then Hieratic Seal will allow the summon of Fallen of Albaz. Albaz will then fuse itself with the Alt Dragon by discarding Parlor to make Albion the Branded Dragon. Albion on summon will banish Hieratic Seal and Fallen of Albaz to make Mirror Jade. Blue Eyes player activates Dragon Shrine, sending away a White Stone of Ancients and a Blue Eyes White Dragon. The White Stone will banish itself to add the Alt Dragon back to hand. Alt Dragon will summon itself by revealing the Blue Eyes. The opponent will use Mirror Jade's effect, and then the player will summon Lava Golem. They should have summoned Lava Golem before they brought out their Alt Dragon. During the end phase, Albion will add Branded Fusion to the player's hand. Passes to the Dragon Maid player. First damage is dealt on turn 5 from Lava Golem, then they activate Branded Fusion, using Fallen of Albaz with Chamber Dragon Maid to make Lubellion the Searing Dragon. Lubellion will then discard Effect Veiler to fuse Albion and Albaz, making a second Mirror Jade. Player summons Chamber Dragon Maid, who will add Dragon Maid Changeover to the hand. Player turns Lava Golem to attack mode, then uses Changeover to fuse Chamber and Lubellion to make Dragon Maid Sheo. Lava Golem, Mirror Jade, and Sheo all swing for game. Branded Dragon Maid wins out over Blue Eyes. Let's go on to the next one. Not a great opening hand. 2 Max Cs, 2 Allures, and a Twin Twister. They activate an Allure. They do get a Dark Monster. They banish Radiant. They activate their second alert. We have a Blackwing player here. Blackwing Link. Interesting. 1 second. Okay. They activate the Allure of Darkness again, this time banishing the Ulster, the South Wind. They set Called By and end their turn. Their opponent will banish 8 cards from the extra deck to special summon Eater of Millions. The player will then activate Max C in response. Opponent normal summons Gizmek Makami, the Ferocious Fanged Fortress, which can be normal summoned without tribute if 6 or more cards are banished. Both of the opponent's monsters swing direct. During main phase 2, they set 2 back row and pass. Duelist A's turn. They activate Twin Twister, pitching Max C, and they do destroy both their opponent's back row, which were Forbidden Droplet and Called By. They then use the effect of Sea Moon, the Poison Wind, banishing their Harmatar, and able to summon it. The opponent will chain a Max C, and that Max C will be hit by a Called By. Blackwing player probably looking to make their big turnaround right now. Max C is banished. Sea Moon is summoned, and Black Whirlwind is activated from the deck, which adds them an Ulster the South Wind to their hand. They then summon Ulster, who will target the Harmatar, and Black Whirlwind will activate in response. Adding Orochi the Squall to hand, and Ulster will summon back Harmatar. Harmatar will gain the level equal to Ulster, and the Squall will special summon itself by controlling another Blackwing, and then Harmatar and Squall are going to link together to make Wise Strix. Wise Strix brings out the Zephyrus the Whirlwind, and player makes a Blackwing full Armor Master using Simone and Ouster. Unaffected by other cards' effects, 3000 by 3000. Ouster will place 1 wedge counter on each opponent's monster. Armor Master will then use its effect to take control of Gizmek Makami. Player swings with their Wise Strix at the Eater of Millions, but it is banished by Eater of Millions' effect. Then Gizmek Makami will attack, swing over the Eater, and Armor Master will swing direct. During the end phase, Gizmek Makami is destroyed. And by its own effect, when it was destroyed sent from the monster zone and was destroyed, it shuffles back 6 banished cards into the deck. Interesting. The player then does take damage from the effect of Poison Wind and Black Whirlwind. Yeah, I lost their Black Whirlwind. Opponent summons Necroface. Armor Master puts a wedge counter on it. Necroface runs into Armor Master. Passes turn. Blackwing player has this one. Moving to battle, they swing direct with the Armor Master for game. Blackwing beats banished. Player activates Tilted Try. I don't recognize that card. And sets 2 back row. Tilted Try field spell, super rare. When you draw for your normal draw in your draw phase, you can reveal one of those cards, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw one. When you draw a card by a card effect, you can reveal one of those cards, send this card to the graveyard, place that card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw 1 card. Alright, so it's a heavy dig deep. Their opponent appears to be running Gemini monsters with Smoke Grenade of the Thief. It's gonna be a weird one. Player draws Supervise. Summons Chem Critter Carbo Crab. And the opponent will activate Peaceful Burial. Send one monster from the deck to the graveyard, but they cannot activate effects with the same name as the sent monster. They're going to send Winged Dragon of Ra, Immortal Phoenix. Player then activates Supervise, which is an equipped card, to make a Gemini monster gain its effect. And if its card is sent to the graveyard, target a normal monster in the graveyard and special summon it. Carbo Crab will then use its effect during the main phase to send a Gemini monster from deck to graveyard, then add one Gemini monster from deck to hand. They're going to send away Phoenix Gearfried to add Phoenix Gearfried. Set 1, Carbo Crab swings direct. Passes turn. Player uses the effect of Tilted Try, sending back Draining Shield, and sending back Raigeki. Activates Monster Reborn, summoning the opponent's Phoenix Gearfried. Player will then activate Gemini Ablation. During the main phase, you can discard one card, activate one of these effects, tribute a Gemini monster, and if you do, special summon one Fire Warrior from your hand or deck. Then if the monster tributes Gemini, treats as an effect monster and gains its effect. Also, you can destroy one card on the field. Or I guess that'd be the effect used. They discarded their Phoenix Gearfried and tributed Carbo Crab to summon Sublimation Knight, which will equip a Fire Warrior or Gemini monster from hand or deck to this card. And then destroyed the Phoenix Gearfried their opponent took. Supervise was destroyed, so it will also activate, and the opponent activates Metaverse. This is a weird one. Metaverse will activate Mound of the Bound Creator. Sublimation Knight will equip itself with a Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon, and Phoenix Gearfried is summoned. Passes turn. Phoenix Gearfried will summon itself to gain its effect, and then they will activate Smoke Grenade of the Bandit. Gemini Ablation will tribute or discard from the hand Polychem Critter High Dragon and use the effect of special summon a Gemini monster from the deck as an effect monster, which is Black Flare Dragon. Sublimation Knight, Phoenix Gearfried, and Black Flare all swing direct. Then Black Flare will use its effect to deal 2,400 points of damage. That was definitely an unconventional match. Not quite sure what the opponent was going for with Tilted Try. Drytron player activates Cyber Emergency, adding Alpha Thuban to hand. Uses Alpha Thuban's effect, tributing Cyber Angel Natasha to summon itself, which adds Ben 10. Activates Mediumness Drytron, tributing Thuban to summon Natasha. Natasha on summon will gain 500 life points for the turn player, and then they pass. Not a great turn for Drytron. Opponent activates Toon World. Player discards Herald of Green Light to negate and destroy Toon World. They're going up against a self-destruct deck. We use Perform Top Popper Up and summon Gizmek Goku. They're down to 600 life points after all their cards go off. Alpha Thuban will tribute Ben 10 to summon itself to the field and add Herald of Ultimateness. Ben 10 for being tributed adds Diviner of Herald. Mediumness Drytron will reduce Thuban's stats to add itself back to the hand. Rastaban will tribute Herald of Ultimateness to summon itself. Then Rastaban and Thuban are going to overlay to make Mubed of Fafnir. Mubed of Fafnir will send away a Gamma. Divine of Herald summons itself, sending away Herald of Arclight. Herald of Arclight will add Cyber Angel Ida 10 to hand. Player activates Mediumness Drytron. Fafnir will detach one material for ritual cost instead of a monster. And Ida 10 is summoned. E10 on summon will add Medium Stretron back to hand. E10 and Divine of Herald are then going to link together to make Union Carrier. Union Carrier will equip Ava onto Fafnir. Onto itself. Player will then use Medianus Drytron, tributing the Union Carrier to summon Herald of Ultimateness. Ava, for being sent to the graveyard, will banish 2 and add 2 level 2s to hand. Natasha will then increase the player's life points by half of Ultimateness' attack. Swing direct with Natasha for game. I feel like they really drug out that turn when they could have just gone to battle phase. B-Trooper deck. Player summons Retaliating Sea, then uses B-Trooper Scale Bomber to effect to summon itself. Those two link together to make Armor Horn. Retaliating Sea will add Goki Pole to hand. Armor Horn will allow the player to summon Goki Pole, which will then link with Armor Horn to make Seraphim Papillion. Papillion's effect to add counters will activate, as will Goki Pole's effect from being sent to the graveyard. Goki Pole will add Killer Needle to hand, and then allow them to summon it. Armor Horn will banish 3 insect monsters from the grave to summon itself back to the field. Then it and Killer Needle will link together to make Insector Picafolina. Picafolina will discard the Sting Lancer in order to equip from the deck a Retaliating Sea onto Seraphim Papillion. Then Picafolina and Papillion are going to link together to make Invincible Atlas. Retaliating Sea's effect will activate again to add Maxi to hand this time. Player will summon a Doom Dozer by banishing 2 bug monsters. Then Invincible Atlas will tribute the Doom Dozer to summon Sting Lancer. Sting Lancer will add a B-Trooper Flying Sting to hand, which they will set, and it passes to the opponent. Opponent activates Star Pendulum Graph. Player activates a Max C in response. Then sets Stargazer Magician in the Pendulum Scale. Normal summons Perform a Pal Pendulum Sorcerer and sets 2 back row. And passes. Player draws Mighty Neptune, which they will banish 3 to summon. Moving into battle, they attempt to swing with Sting Lancer. Time Star Magician's effect will activate, meaning that opponent can activate spell cards until the end of the damage step, which isn't a huge problem. Then Mighty Neptune and Invincible Atlas will both swing direct for a combined 6,000. During main phase 2, player will tribute their Sting Lancer to summon Scout Buggy, which will summon another Scout Buggy. Then those 2 will link together to make a new Insector Picafolina. Picafolina will discard Ash Blossom in order to equip Mighty Neptune with a Retaliating Sea. Picafolina will then use her effect, targeting 3 insect monsters in the graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and draw 1. Picafolina and Mighty Neptune will then make a new Seraphim Papillion. They will make a chain with Papillion, Retaliating Sea, and Scale Bomber. Scale Bomber is summoned. Retaliating Sea adds Maxi. Papillion gains 3 counters. Passes to the opponent. Opponent sets the scale with Wisdom Eye. And player will activate another Max C. Really making sure the Pendulum player does not want to do their turn. But if they don't, they're absolutely going to lose, so they have to roll that die. They will Pendulum summon the Sorcerer. And its effect will be negated by B-Trooper Flying Sting. Wisdom on Magician's effect will activate, and Papillion will activate in response. Papillion will summon back Retaliating Sea. Wisdom Eye will destroy itself to summon set Time Gazer, and they add a purple poison to their hand. Then they set a card on the field and pass to the opponent. Invincible Atlas will tribute the Retaliating to summon Sting Lancer. Retaliating Sea's effect will activate. Retaliating Sea adds Resonance Insect, and Sting Lancer adds Bee Trooper Descent. They will then activate Bee Trooper Descent, summoning a Bee Trooper token and destroying one of the opponent's back row. They then summon Goki Pole, which will link with the Descent summon token to make Armor Horn. Goki Pole's effect will add Retaliating Sea back to hand. Armor Horn will allow them to summon Retaliating Sea, which that, Scale Bomber, and Armor Horn will all link together to make a second Invincible Atlas. Retaliating Sea's effect will add Max C back to hand. Player will summon Ping the Bullseye by its own effect and deal 200. That's funny. Sting Lancer swings over Purple Poison. Purple Poison's effect will activate to destroy a card, which is the Sting Lancer. Star Pendulum Graph will add a Harmonizing Magician to hand. Then Invincible Atlas will swing for game. Pendulum player held off by Max C. Bee Trooper wins. Flaunderies player. They do nothing on their first turn. Their opponent will summon Marincess Blue Tang. Flaunderies player will activate Max C. Max C will resolve. Blue Tang will send away a Mandarin. Player activates Pot of Desires, which will be hit by an Ash Blossom. Moving into battle, Blue Tang swings direct, and they pass turn, not feeding into the Max C at all. Flaunderies player draws Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion and has to pass turn. Duelist A is then going to link off Blue Tang into Blue Slug. Blue Tang's effect will activate, as will Blue Slug. Duelist B will activate Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion in response. Blue Slug is negated. Blue Tang will let them look at cards and add to the hand a Pasculus. Pasculus is normal summoned, which allows them to summon a Spring Girl. And the two of them are going to overlay to make Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark will detach one unit to summon Totally Awesome. Then Bahamut Shark and Blue Slug are going to link together to make Marincess Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone will summon back Blue Tang. Blue Tang on summon will send away a monster. And Blue Tang will link off to make Sea Angel. Sea Angel on summon will add Battle Ocean to hand, which will be activated. The Mandarin in the graveyard will summon itself to the zone Blue Angel points to, and then they will link together to make Splash Mage. Splash Mage will summon back Spring Girl, and the two of those will link together to make Marincess Crystal Heart. Spring Girl, for being sent to graveyard, will mill a card and deal damage. Sleeping Maiden will target a field spell and summon herself, and then link with Coral Anemone to make Marincess Marbled Rock. Coral Anemone will add Blue Tang from the graveyard back to hand. And Marbled Rock will allow the player to add Spring Girl back to hand. Then Marbled Rock and Crystal Heart will link together to make Aqua Argonaut. Battle Ocean will then equip Aqua Argonaut with 3 monsters. Player activates Sleeping Maiden's effect, banishing her to increase the attack points. No, to banishing her to equip Blue Slug onto her. Spring Girl's effect will then activate from the hand, banishing Pascalis to summon itself. Spring Girl will swing, as will Totally Awesome, and then Aqua Argonaut for game. Marincess beats out a dead-handed Flaunderies. Looks like we have a 3-axis player. They use Danger Tsuchinoko's effect, which will pitch Silent Boots and summon itself. Player summons Say I'm In and adds Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune will discard itself and send Fogblade in order to bring out a Madam Spider. Zayman and Madam Spider are going to link together to make a Cherubini. Cherubini will send away a Water Enchantress. Water Enchantress will use her effect to add Rite of Erismere. Danger Tsuchinoko and Cherubini are going to link together to make Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. Rusty Bardiche will send away a Torn Scales, which will set a Fogblade. Silent Boots will banish itself from the graveyard, adding a Phantom Knight's Wing. Torn Scales, because the card was banished, will summon itself. It will use its effect to discard the wings in order to send a Ancient Cloak to the graveyard. Ancient Cloak will banish the Fogblade to summon itself. Then Ancient Cloak and Torn Scales are going to overlay to make Leviair the Sea Dragon. Leviair will detach Torn Scales to summon Silent Boots. Ancient Cloak will be banished from being sent to the graveyard to add Silent Boots again. Silent Boots will then summon itself by its own effect. Silent Boots and Leviair are going to link together to make Dagda. Looks like we're going for a Scythe lockout. Phantom Knight's Wings will be banished from the graveyard to summon back Silent Boots again. And both these Silent Boots are going to overlay to make Phantom Knights a Breaksword. Bardiche's effect will activate, as will Dagda. Dagda sets a Scythe in the spell trap zone. Bardiche destroys Breaksword. Breaksword will then summon back its attached materials as level 4s, which will both link together to make Verte Anaconda. Verte Anaconda will send away Fusion Destiny, along with Denier and Malicious, in order to summon Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer. Player sets a called by and passes. It's a hell of a board. Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer will destroy Verte and Scythe. Scythe, for being destroyed, will summon itself and lock the opponent out of the extra deck. The opponent summons Magical Abductor. That's new to me, but it is apparently a part of the Endymion archetype. Each time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter on this card. When that spell resolves, gain 100. When that spell resolves, place a spell counter. Gains 100 attack for each spell counter on it. Once per turn, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card to add 1 level 1 spellcaster monster from your deck to your hand. They then set the Pendulum Scale with Servant of Endymion. Each time a spell card is activated, gains a spell counter. You can remove 3 counters from this card, special summon both this card from your Pendulum Zone and 1 monster from your deck with 1000 or more attack that you can place a spell counter on. And if you do, place 1 spell counter on each. They also set Magister of Endymion in the other Pendulum Zone and activate Power of the Guardian. Magister has the same effect of getting spell counters, and you can remove 3 spell summon itself and 1 face-up monster from your extra deck that can have a spell counter on it, and when summoned, both gain the spell counters. They then go to Pendulum Summon, summoning Silent Magician. Player moves to attack with Magical Abductor over Artifact Dagda. And the opponent will activate Phantom Knights of Fogblade in response, which will prevent Magical Abductor from attacking. During the end phase of the turn, Fusion Destiny will make Destroy Phoenix Force to destroy itself, but this will activate DPE's effect, allowing it to be summoned during the standby phase. Player draws Danger Jackalope for turn. Destroy Phoenix Enforcer will destroy Fogblade and the Silent Magician. Fogblade will banish itself from the graveyard to target Break Sword and summon that to the field. Bardish's effect will activate. Because a Dark Xyz monster is plus from to his own it points to, it attempts to target and destroy the Abductor. Abductor will be protected, though, by Power of the Guardian. Artifact Scythe and Artifact Dagda are going to link together to make Nightmare Unicorn. Unicorn will discard Jackalope to spin the Abductor. Jackalope, for being discarded, will special summon Tsuchinoko. Denier will summon itself by having a Destiny hero on the board. Then Denier and Tsuchinoko are going to overlay to make a new Phantom Knights of Breaksword. Breaksword uses its effect, targeting itself and one of the opponent's Pendulum monsters. It will then summon back its materials as level 4s. Both of those are going to link together, overlay actually, to make Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight will detach one material to allow itself to be used as material to make Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Malicious will banish itself from the graveyard to summon a new Malicious. Arc Rebellion will use its effect to gain the attack points of all other monsters, and then swing direct for 12,600 damage and game. 3X's player having firm control of that entire game from start to finish. Opponent summons Marincess Pascalis, which allows them to summon Spring Girl. Spring Girl will then link herself off to make Sea Angel. Sea Angel's effect will activate, as will Spring Girl's. They're able to add Marincess Dive to hand. And they'll activate Dive to summon back the blue Tang that was milled away by the effect of Spring Girl. Spring Girl's effect. Sorry, a little bit behind on this. Blue Tang will send itself from the field. Blue Tang will use its effect on summon to send Mandarin to the graveyard, then be sent away to make Sea Angel. Send it itself, and Sea Angel will go to make Coral Anemone. We got there. Coral Anemone will target Blue Tang, summon itself back. Then Blue Tang will link off to make Blue Slug. Blue Slug's effect will activate, as will Blue Tang. Did not find any cards to add to hand, but Blue Slug will add Spring Girl back to hand. Then Coral Anemone and Blue Slug are going to link together to make Coral Triangle. Coral Anemone's effect will activate, adding Blue Tang back to hand. Coral Triangle's effect will discard the Sleepy Maiden to add Marincess Wave. Spring Girl in hand will banish Blue Slug to summon herself. Then she and Pascalis will make Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark will detach one to summon Totally Awesome. Then Bahamut Shark and Coral Triangle are going to link together to make Aqua Argonaut. Sleepy Maiden will banish herself to equip Coral Anemone onto Aqua Argonaut. Then one card will be set in the back row and player passes turn. Duelist A will tribute Totally Awesome to summon Gameciel the Sea Turtle. Totally Awesome, for being sent, will add Spring Girl from the graveyard back to hand. Player then summons Radian on its own by the effect of the opponent having a Kaiju, and summons Gradle Cobra. Great Cobra will swing itself into Aqua Argonaut, and for being destroyed will allow itself to equip to Aqua Argonaut and take control of it. Then the player activates Enemy Controller, tributing Radiant to take control of Gameciel. Gameciel swings direct, as does Aqua Argonaut. Then they'll pass turn. Their play allowed their opponent to keep a monster. That doesn't seem right to me. Pascalis will banish itself from the graveyard to add Marincess Dive back to hand. Blue Tang is summoned, and on her summon, she sends away another Pascalis. Blue Tang will turn into Blue Slug. Blue Slug's effect will activate, as will Blue Tang. Blue Tang adds Battle Ocean. Found that on the Excavate. Blue Slug will allow him to add Sea Angel back to the extra deck. Seahorse is summoned to the zone that Blue Slug points to, and the two will make Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone will target Pascalis and summon itself back. Spring Girl will be summoned by the effect of Pascalis. Pascalis and Anemone will make Marbled Rock. Coral Anemone, for being sent, will allow him to add Blue Tang back to hand. Player activates Battle Ocean, and then Marincess Dive, which summons a Seahorse. Marbled Rock will add Marincess Dive back to hand. Marbled Rock and Spring Girl will link together to make Marincess Great Bubble Reef. Battle Ocean will activate on her summon, and Spring Girl will chain. Spring Girl will send away 2. Battle Ocean will equip her with 3 link monsters. Mandarin will summon itself to the field to a zone that Great Bubble points to. And Slug is summoned back by the effect of Bubble Reef banishing Blue Tang. Player then swings with the Bubble Reef over Aqua Argonaut. These names are annoying to say in succession. Player then swings direct with Gameciel, Blue Slug, and Mandarin for game. Marincess beats out whatever that player was going for, and I do believe that player misplayed. We have a light and dark deck. Chaos deck, really. And they activate that grass looks greener and are not stopped, and they sent away 17 cards. Sorry, they sent away way more than 17. They sent away 20. 3 Wolf the Lightsworn Beasts are going to activate to summon themselves. Duelist A activates Max C, which is really good. They're going to draw a lot of cards. Wolf has been summoned. Unless the player is going for an OTK, they may have already been ruined by that Max C. 2 Wolves are going to overlay to make Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn. Minerva will detach 1, but will be hit by an Imperm. Player summons Chaos Dragon Levinair by banishing 2 lights, 1 dark. One of the darks was Thunder Dragon Dark, whose effect will activate, as will Chaos Valkyria. They sent away Electromagnetic Turtle, and they add Thunder Dragonhawk. Chaos Space will banish itself to add Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning back into the deck. Lumina, the Twilight Sworn, is going to be the normal summon. Thunder Dragonhawk will discard itself, but its effect will be negated by Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Dangerous Tsuchinoko will activate its effect. It summons itself and ditches Breakthrough Skill. Tsuchinoko and a wolf are going to link together to make IP Masquerena. Jet Synchron will discard the Twilight Hunter and summon itself. Sorry, Lightsworn. The opponent will immediately activate Imperm, targeting IP, and Maxi will be sent off, but will be stopped by an Ash Blossom, because of course it will. You gave your opponent half their deck in their hand. Imperm will negate Masquerena's effect. Player summons Fallen of Albaz, discards the Psyframe Gamma. Player attempts to use IP, but her effect is negated. Albaz will fuse itself with Minerva to make Mirror Jade the Iceblade Dragon. Mirror Jade will send away Albion to banish Leviner. Then player activates Branded Opening, pitching Evenly Matched to summon Alibur, who adds Branded Fusion. Player activates Branded Fusion, fusing the Albaz in their hand with Psyframe Gear Gamma, making Albion the Branded Dragon. Albion on summon will fuse both Fallen of Albaz from the graveyard to make a Lubellion. Lubellion on summon will discard one, fusing the Fallen of Albaz that is banished with Alibur to make Despian Queritus. Queritus will use its effect, reduce the opponent's non-fusion monster attack to 0. Player attempts to swing with Mirror Jade, but player will banish Electromagnetic Turtle to end the battle phase. During the end phase, Albion's effect will add Branded Fusion to hand. Branded player sets 1 and passes. Player draws Danger Tsuchinoko, uses Breakthrough Skill from the graveyard. Opponent activates Despian Comedy as a chain to negate the effect of Breakthrough Skill. Breakthrough Skill will be banished from the graveyard again. Despian Queritus will activate in response. Player is going to link 5 monsters together to make Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Goddess's effect will activate, as will Mirror Jade. Duelist A activates Branded in red. They add Despian Comedy back to hand. Then Comedy, Ad Libitum, and Queritus are going to fuse to make Guardian Chimera. Chimera's effect will activate, as will Ad Libitum to summon back Mirror Jade. Goddess effect will activate as Chainlink 3. Goddess negates Ad Libitum. Chimera is negated. Goddess swings over Lubellion. Passes turn. Mirror Jade's effect would go off, but Underworld Goddess is unable to be destroyed by effects that do not target. Opponent activates Branded Fusion, fusing Fallen of Albaz with Despian Tragedy, making a second Lubellion. Lubellion will then discard Evenly Matched, and Despian Tragedy's effect will activate. Tragedy will add Alibur to hand. Lubellion will fuse Despian Queritus with Fallen of Albaz to make Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade will then use its effect, sending away an Albion. It is a targeting removal, so Underworld Goddess will be protected from it. However, Guardian Chimera is able to swing over her. Then player attacks with Mirror Jade and Albion, but Lubellion cannot attack. And during the end phase, a Branded in red is set by the banished Albion. Or the sent to the graveyard Albion, I should say. Dual speed draws. They summon Raiden. And the opponent will activate Branded in red, adding Despian Tragedy to hand, which they will fuse 3 monsters to make a second Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera's effect will activate, as will Despian Tragedy. Tragedy resolves first, adding an Alibur to hand. Chimera will draw 2 and destroy 1. Player uses Danger Tsuchinoko, which will summon itself. Moving into battle, they swing with Tsuchinoko into the Guardian Chimera. Duelist A's turn. They move straight to battle and swing with Chimera for game. Branded beats That Grass Looks Greener, thanks to a Max C. Player sets 3 back row and passes. Duelist B activates Lightning Storm, declaring spell and trap, but will be stopped by a Solemn Judgment. Player activates Fire Formation Tenki, which adds a Bujin Torifune. Torifune is summoned, but is hit by a Solemn Warning. Duelist A is down to 2,000. Passes turn. Duelist A activates Pot of Duality, but will be hit by an Ash Blossom. Duelist A will set 1 monster and pass. Bujin player draws Maitotsu. Summons Hiroko, which attacks a Subterror Fiendess. Passes turn. Duelist A sets 1 and passes. Bujin player draws another Torifune. Summons Maitotsu, which will banish the Torifune from the graveyard, and the opponent will activate Skill Drain. Both Bujins are going to overlay to make Bujinte Kagetsuchi. It is still negated by Skill Drain, but it is a bigger body, and it will swing over Ash Blossom. Duelist A is down to 1,000 life points completely by their own hand. They will set 1 monster again and pass. Duelist will summon Torifune. Kagetsuchi will swing over the second set Ash Blossom, and Torifune will swing direct. Bujin player wins. Traptrix player. They summon Vesiculo and are going to link her off into Traptrix Sarah. They set 4 back row and pass. Their opponent activates Dragon Shrine, which will be hit by a Solemn Judgment. They summon White Stone of Ancients, which is going to link itself off for Linkuribo. They then set 1, and during the end phase, the White Stone of Ancients effect will activate, but will be hit by Grave Digger's Trap Hole to negate, and deal 2,000. Traptrix Sarah will then allow them to summon a Murmello, which will destroy the opponent's back row, and allow them to set a Grave Digger's Trap Hole. I've got the hiccups now. Wonderful. Player draws another Vesiculo for turn. Summon her. Vesiculo attempts to swing over Linkuribo. Linkuribo attributes itself to make her attack 0. Murmello and Sarah will both swing. Then Murmello and Vesiculo are going to overlay into Rafflesia. Duelist A activates Raigeki, which will destroy Rafflesia. They summon a White Stone of Ancients and attempt to use Linkuribo's effect, but will be hit by Gravedigger's Trap Hole. They take another 2,000. Sarah's effect will activate, setting another Murmello. Sarah will set another Bottomless. And during the end phase, White Stone of Ancients attempts to activate again and will be hit by the third Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which will be lethal damage. Trap Tricks beats Blue Eyes. Not quite sure what I'm looking at, but I know I don't like it. Opponent activates Incantation Bookstone, reveals advanced ritual art. Bookstone is summoned, as is Talisman Drake, which adds Chalice Slime. Then activates Melody of Awakening, pitching Blue Eyes Alt Dragon to add White Dragon. Player activates Advanced Ritual Art, sending a Blue Eyes from the deck to make Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. Then they tribute the two incantations to summon a Blue Eyes from their hand. The card in hand is Chalice Slime, and the opponent just got the card they need to win. They activate Magical Mallet, sending back 3. Activate Chicken Game, paying 1,000 to draw 1. Activate Into the Void, getting Dark Hole and activating it, which will only destroy Blue Eyes, I believe. Activates Skystriker Mobilize Engage to add Widow Anchor and Spellbook of Secrets. Activates Spellbook of Secrets to add Magician of Prophecy. Summon Magician, which adds Spellbook of Knowledge. Activate Spellbook of Knowledge. Activate Sales Band, declaring number 86 Heroic Champion Rungo Miniad. They activate Contract with Dawn 1000. All cards that are drawn must be revealed. When a player's spell card in the hand is revealed by this effect, the player can't normal summon or set monsters. Interesting. They then activate Dark Hole again. Activate Into the Void again. Activate Raigeki. Set 1 and pass. Even if they were to summon Rungo Miniad, it is not bigger than Chaos Max Dragon and would not be able to make a difference. However, because their life points are lower and due to Chicken Game, it may be a bit difficult for the Blue Eyes player to get the win. Blue Eyes player reveals Chalice Slime, which summons discard an Incantation Candal after revealing Chalice Slime to summon Candal. Candal's effect will activate on summon to add Incantation Inception to hand, which will then be activated using Chalice Slime to make Chalice Slime. Inception will then tribute Candal to summon Talisman Drake, and add Incantation Inception back to hand. Talisman Drake will add Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon to hand. Player activates Incantation Inception using Chalice Slime and Talisman Drake to summon the Chaos Dragon. Moving into battle, they did not read to use Chicken Game first to make their life points equal, which they do now to draw 1. Duelist A draws Skystriker Mobilize Engage and activates it, adding Hornet Drones and Magical Mallet. They activate Hornet Drones to summon the token. The token will then make Skystriker Ace Kagari. Kagari, currently at 2,700 attack points. They activate Mobilize Engage again and add Widow Anchor and 1 Day of Peace. They activate 1 Day of Peace and then activate Magical Mallet, sending back 2 cards. They activate Dark Hole. This destroys their own monster. Blue Eyes player activates Called By, targeting Kagari. They use Chicken Game to draw 1. Incantation Inception, effect in the graveyard, will activate, discarding Pencil Plume, summoning Talamasandra, and adding itself back to hand. Talamasandra's effect will activate to add Chaos Max Dragon to hand. Bookstone effect will reveal at the inception, summoning itself, and a Candal, which will add advanced ritual art to hand. Moving to battle, they swing with both dragons and does not do any damage. That time I'm not sure why he didn't take damage, because he's not the player with the lowest life points anymore. Chicken game player passes turn. Oh right, 1 day of peace. Player activates trade in, discarding a Chaos Max Dragon to draw 2, uses the opponent's chicken game to draw 1, then swings with the Max Dragon, putting their opponent down to 2,000. If they would have attacked with just the Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon that turn, both players would then be tied at 3,000, and then he would have been able to swing with the Max Dragon then for game, because Chicken Game would not have had a player with the lowest life points. Chicken Game player passes turn. This will just make it take longer. Blue Eyes player using Chicken Game to attempt to balance the life points. Rongo Miniad player stopped by Max Dragon's existence. Player activates Upstart Goblin to drag this out longer. And uses Chicken Game to make this much harder. This may be forced to be a deck out game. Player uses Chaos Form, using Bookstone and Pencil Plume to summon another Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon. Talismandra and Candal are going to be used Inception to make Chalice Line. The smartest thing for the Blue Eyes player to do would be to not use Chicken Game and just draw 1 card per turn, and wait for their opponent to deck out first. Rongo player uses Left Arm Offering. Opponent uses Called By, targeting Magician of Prophecy. Player draws Sword of the Deep-Seated. Player activates Ultimate Fusion, fusing Blue Eyes White Dragon with Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon to make Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. Tyrant Dragon swings, does nothing. Blue Eyes player may have realized the best thing to do is do nothing. Rongo player passes. Blue Eyes player makes a Link 3 Nightmare Unicorn. This is where the game ends. Unicorn will discard Chaos Form to spin Chicken Game. Moving to battle, the Max Dragon will swing for game. That match was far longer than it had any right to be, and strikes me as a good time to end the video. That's going to be the end of this stream. If you caught the stream, thanks for watching. If you catch the replay, thanks for that too. Goodbye.